alternate. Do you see what I'm saying? There's some confusion. I think that there got to be some confusion.
In other words, just move Tri-County out from under town boards on Mr. Howe and move it into an alternate on Tri-County Wheat. Is that?
Yeah, Wheat District.
Is that okay with you? That cleaned up.
I thought about that earlier, and I apologize I forgot to.
So we're not designating a lead on Tri-County. The general theme being that it's equal opportunity for all 5 commissioners.
For Tri-County, yes.
For Tri-County, yeah, and that's for all, for the 3 counties.
Do we know if Nye County has officially bowed out of?
Not that I've heard.
Elaine would know that.
They're trying to salvage that as far as I know.
Okay. All right, I have a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. All right, next item. We're the item 2 and 3 under County Commissioners. I'm going to hold till Mr. Brown comes in from Midway Gold. She and Mr. Howell, Mr. Howell requested that. Liquor Board meeting. Sure. Discussion action possible approval of liquor license request submitted by Steve DeGresco for the following event: Cave Lake State Park Fishing Derby event to be held on January 25th, 2014.
You're well aware that's a great event that they're having out there. They do raise a lot of funds that go to scholarships towards our high school kids. Of course, a background check has been done on Judge DeGresco. Everything comes back clear, and I recommend that we approve it.
And I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second.
The sheriff made a motion?
Yeah, he's a member of the liquor board.
Gotcha. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Live and learn.
Lori Carson seconded. Question, all in favor?
Aye.
I abstained, primarily because I'm going to be the bartender.
That's not a good idea for you. There goes the problem. Discussion action possible approval of liquor board minutes of the October 23rd, 2013 meeting.
I make a motion to approve.
I second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We have a gentleman here who has to get to Las Vegas and catch a plane to find where his daughter went. How you doing?
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commission members. My name is Mark Sullivan. I'm a land use consultant for NB Energy. And I just came to provide you with a quick update for our project. The 1 Nevada transmission line has been energized as of 12/31/2013. So that's the quick update. I guess the just a couple of little highlights. 6 years of planning, 3 years during construction. Largely, White Pine County was successful because of this body and their staff. We worked diligently with everybody from the district attorney office to the health department, and with your permission and without your guys' help, we certainly wouldn't have been successful. So we certainly appreciate everything you guys have done to help facilitate the project and keep it running smoothly. As you know, it was 231 miles, over 800 towers. We have a 40-acre substation right here in White Pine County, 13 new microwave sites, 12 new cattle guards. It's made some ranchers happy. And the project overall opened a lot of pathways for renewable energy to be transferred back and forth throughout the state. This line also connected the north and the south together. Never happened before, so we have a statewide system now as part of the grid, which is quite exciting for our company and for the state as a whole. Most of the activities that we have on the project are complete. We're working on environmental reclamation, doing some reconvoying, reseeding of temporary construction pads and construction sites, and doing the replanting of the cactus and the yucca. If you remember, we removed those out of those sites and had temporary nurseries, and now we move them back in to be able to maintain those. Road work is complete, with one exception. We have some road inspection fees that the road department has sent us a list of all the inspections they've done and the costs associated with those. So we're forwarding that on to our contractor. They're going to get that paid, and then also we've sent a copy of a release that we would like to have the commission either authorize Bill to sign or the chairman sign. I don't know. I guess it's probably better for Kelly to answer, but if you haven't already seen it, you'll be seeing it soon, I'm sure. And the last thing is that we have, and I'm sure you've all received a communication to a dedication ceremony that we're going to be having for the line on January 23rd. We'd love to have you all attend. And again, thank you.
Where's that going to be on?
It's going to be down south at the end of the project down there.
Oh, down Clark County.
Yeah,
Down
Perry Allen.
Perry Allen.
Substation facility down there. That's my understanding in conversations with Bill, that the contractor was no longer in the area, but he hired a local contractor to take care of that road.
Is it all right, Bill? Is Bill still there?
Yeah.
Don't mind.
I sent staff down the last couple of days. I haven't gotten notice from Sturgeon or WW quite yet, just from what my staff has observed. We'll get with Mark and we'll make sure that we get some emails sent so that it's all legally documented. And then I'll bring this up on the County Commission agenda in 2 weeks from now.
All right, great.
Mark, we'd like to thank you and all the contractors for bringing our economy up the last 3 years. Having everyone here, and the Tourism Rec Board also, we're very pleased with the taxes we receive from the use of the motels.
Well, everybody's thrilled. I know a lot of them are sad they're leaving the road up here. It's God's country up here. So
That's good. Thank you very much.
we'll miss all of you too.
Well, you can come back and give us a report on anything you want.
Okay, I'm gonna come back later this month too, but we'll see
Really?
you guys every once in a while, yeah. Well, the sheriff requires me to let him know when I'm coming to town, so he'll tell you.
If we allow it.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, I appreciate it.
Sheriff did his license plate. All right, we'll recess the regular county commission meeting and go into the fire commission meeting. Public comment, fire commission meeting. Okay, if none, discussion action, possible approval of advanced placement on the exempt pay scale for step 3 for Brett M. Waters, District Fire Chief, for his advanced training in firefighting. This is Richie.
You all got a copy of his certifications and training certificates. So, and we're requesting step 3 for him to do work.
All right. Any question? Or any questions? Oh, you have a question?
Yeah, I don't understand at all. I don't know what, wholly insufficient information for me to know for Caddy. As I told you, I don't know what he was making. I don't know what his peers make in this community. I don't know what the discussion was. You know, we did just up the salary rather substantially to a start of $60,000. Step 1 of $60,000. So I'm kind of lost on it. I want to do the right thing, but I want to be cautious and respectful of those people who've been in the county and are working on that pay scale that someone doesn't, for lack of a more pleasure.
Mike, I don't want to be argumentative, but that's why we get these agendas 3 or 4 days in advance, so you can find out.
Right, John, and that's why I talked to Kathy and I told her,
Okay, well,
I'm telling you, I don't have enough information for her.
Okay, and if you want me, I did cost analysis of what other fire chiefs were making throughout the state of Nevada when I set up this district fire chief pay scale. And we were on the lower end, and, starting at $60,000.
Even starting, okay, we were at the low end and then we upped it before it went out. Didn't we?
I'm not sure. if you'd like to-
What did we offer him in his position? Or did we?
We didn't offer him anything.
That's what I think this is.
I mean, he got a copy of the pay scale. He knew where to start was. So, but it was never offered. It was,
What we're doing now.
Because for some reason, I thought that in a past commission meeting, we had discussed the fact that previously, when we first had hired, that it was really low.
yeah, it was.
Really low. Then I thought that we had upped it, and that's what this is when we did up it.
That chart right there.
This
Wow.
chart, yeah.
Yeah, and
so,
that's when we did up.
now there's the request to increase it further.
To the maximum amount permissible.
No,
Yes,
it's
it
not.
is.
It's only to
Read
step
footnote
3.
1. If the hiring authority has a well-qualified candidate, which I might add, presumably whenever we extended job offers to a well-qualified candidate, we can offer up to step 3 without approval. So one,
Okay,
you know, I
but
think-
I'm just saying, that's only step 3. There's 8 steps.
Well,
That's what I'm talking about. So
I
that's
don't think
not
I
the
disagree. I'm
maximum.
just telling you, I don't know what he was making before. I don't know what particularly warrants it. I understand there's some training, but there's a whole lot of employees here that start at lower pay scale that are working their way up to get to that step 3 and then step 6 and 8. And I want to take a big picture view and be fair to everybody.
And if I can, I just want to
Go
question
ahead.
further so far as I know that the fire district had had some financial issues that we've been rectifying, and how does this hold up so far as ongoing expense?
You have budgeted for one employee or one firefighter, one fire chief, so this is within what is anticipated, because there was a large gap in time where no one was in that position.
Has Mr. Waters conditioned his acceptance of the offer
Yes.
on that pay grade?
Yes.
Okay, that would be material, Kathy. That and his background and all this other stuff's not here, and it's not even communicated orally. And that's why,
And
like I
I'm
said, I
not
don't oppose it,
certain-
I just don't
I
know
mean,
enough to
I-
support it.
He sent me a copy of his certification. That was in your packet.
It's not in with that here.
In our pack.
Oh, I beg your pardon. It's right in front of the bill. I do have that. I do know. And this is what we discussed in your office.
Okay, we're through discussing. This time I'll entertain a motion to increase the new fire chief to the step 3 position on the payroll.
I'll make a motion to approve the
I have a
advancement.
motion. Thank you.
The replacement of pay scale step 3 for Brent M. Waters. Hopefully he will accept this job. And that's all based on our research of pay scale plus his documentation of his certification.
So here's a second.
I'll second it based on the experience that the qualified candidate has, his request, and one of the criteria to be on board would be the increase to step 3 as opposed to step 1. We know that he's a qualified candidate, we know his certificates, and at this late point in the game, $2,000 is, to me, not a figure that we should throw back into his face and start all over again. So on Mr. Limich's motion, I will second it, and that's the reason why.
All right. I have a motion, a second.
One quick question,
Sure.
if I may. This table indicates that it's hired in step 3 without any approval. So that doesn't mean it's wrong that it's on the commission's agenda. It's apparently not necessary. Is that correct?
I think this is
If
a
we
thing
don't
to do
add-
It's
regarding
just to
transparency.
have a transparent thing, right?
Okay, and I don't object to that, but I'm just asking, do I understand this to say that the HR director, the hiring authority, could offer this without it being
No.
here?
No, she cannot.
Well, the transparency is important, and I will present it to the commission.
I got you. What does this sentence mean? If the hiring authority has a well-qualified candidate, you are the hiring authority, or are we?
Well, you are.
Oh, in the case of a department.
Of any
Up to
department,
step 3 can be offered without approval.
other than the elected official, if they want to hire.
You are the hiring authority.
So if it was the subordinate to Brett, the position currently filled by Jim Derrick, then Brett himself,
Then he
as
can
the
make
chief,
that,
could offer.
he can make that
Gotcha.
decision.
Now I understand that.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Thank you. Thank you, Kathy. Public comment, fire commission meeting. If none, I'll adjourn the fire commission meeting. We go directly back into the regular county commission meeting. Mr. Ken Brown of Western Counties Alliance to present update the commission on the following public lands issues: payments in lieu of taxes, geothermal, public land transfer, and wild horse burrow, sage grouse, secure rural schools, and other issues. Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Good to be here today. There must be extra popular with Commissioners standing room only.
We're always popular, too.
Yeah, that's what they used to say when I was a commissioner, you know, there was extra people, you're extra.
That was it. Yes.
And thanks for being on the agenda. For the record, Ken Brown, Western Counties Alliance. You received a packet of material, the agenda, and I'll just slip through those items on the agenda and then entertain any question, comment that you might have. And I wish that there was better news in some areas, but as you know, the wreck back there in DC continues to be a problem. Number one, PILT, that'll be extended for 1 year, 2014. The funding level has not been officially determined. There's still some wrangle with the budget going on. However, there was an email come out with some information from the Interior Department that the gross number that's being considered would be $425 million. And of course, as you know, the fees come off of that, the administrative fees and so forth. Now the question about the sequester process that was implemented last year. Early on, the census was the sequester would be implemented again. Now it doesn't appear that that's going to be implemented, at least in its fullest extent. A portion of it could be, but I asked Interior just yesterday, where are we at with the sequester situation? Couldn't get an answer. So I'll just keep following that up and get you information emailed out as I receive it. You looked at the chart, White Pine County, between comparing 2012 with 2013, he was down a little over $26,000. That was primarily due to the sequester situation. Unfortunately, I tried to get counties or PILT eliminated from the sequester, and of course I was just laughed at. And so anyway, I guess it could have been worse with what's been going on. I sent the two charts over. The other one as just for information there for to show you the entitlement acreage, prior year payments, population, and so forth, just for information. Interior says I'm all the time calling them and talking to them about PILT. They says, okay, give us some offsets to fund the program. And I says, I can do that. I can give you 3 right now. The first one was the Land and Water Conservation Fund. As you know, in that fund, they use a lot of that money to purchase private land, and then some of it's used for conservation easement. So I says, I am totally opposed to the federal taxpayer purchasing private land, taking it off the local tax roll, and thus creating more of an impact to county government. And so I says there's plenty of revenue in that fund to pay for PILT. Number 2, mineral royalty. Nationally, that fund has about $14 billion in it. And I said there is plenty of room in mineral royalty to pay for PILT. And the third one, foreign aid. I said you can take $400 million out of foreign aid, you'd never leave a scratch on the number. And so I said there's 3 viable areas that PILT can be paid for. I went on to indicate to them counties provide the valuable, expensive services on public land. They cannot pay for those services without PILT assistance. And you commissioners are well aware of that. And those services are getting more expensive each year. So that's where the PILT issue is at. They think in a couple of weeks that a lot of this budget wrangling will get taken care of, and we can get information out to you where things are going to be. The next one is geothermal. That's a good program, a big program for the state of Nevada, California as well. There's a chart there that you can look at. White Pine County, not in a big way, but it went from almost 9,000 to almost 12,500 between the 2 years. So some increase. So your leasing process must have improved with respect to the geothermal program. So that's good. There's other states that are not involved in the geothermal energy process are looking at it more and more all the time because it's a good clean source of energy. Number 3, public land transfer. Good concept, long shot, but the land is not into production like it needs to be. And that's quite obvious. We're looking at the $17.5 trillion financially embarrassed federal government. So obviously a lot more goes out than what comes in. But there's plenty of commodity in America to be self-sustaining. We just need to go after it. So that's what the American Lands Council is looking at, is trying to get what I refer to as a raw public land, other than national parks, monuments, and those kinds of things, transferred to the jurisdiction of states coupled with counties. The land would be put into production, and the very best way, as you commissioners know, to protect land is through well-managed multiple use. That's the bottom line. WCA is in full support of that. We haven't put any money into the cause because we don't have the revenue to do that. I lowered, in the past years, lowered fees to counties for WCA, and therefore there isn't room to branch out revenue in that area. Number 4, the Wild Horse Borough. That continues to be a real challenging situation. The Humane Society, well, let me back up. As you know, the slaughter program, been trying to help get that reintroduced. And there's been 3 permits issued by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, one in New Mexico, one in Iowa, and one in Missouri. The New Mexico facility was been the first one to move forward with the slaughter program. The Humane Society filed an injunction in federal court in Albuquerque to stop the slaughter program. The judge lifted the injunction. They immediately filed to the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals. And the 10th Circuit lifted that ban and authorized the process to go forward. Well, the third challenge that's come into the picture is now the New Mexico Attorney General has threatened to file a lawsuit against Valley Meat in Roswell, New Mexico, opposing the horse slaughter program. So it just keeps going on and on with this legal process. The concern I have is how far can they go financially before it breaks them? And that's a concern that I have had. WCA has been in full support of reintroducing the slaughter program. I go to the board meetings. The chairman is Dr. Stratling from Elko County, Nevada, of that board, as you know, and to try to help that process along. But the Valley Meat was to get into production on January 2nd with the threat from the Attorney General of New Mexico. Now that's backed off for, I don't know, a week or two, something like that. But we look at that situation daily. So again, as I get information, I'll shoot it to you in email form. But it needs to be done. The domestic animals, the wild roaming animals out on the land, there's a problem. And there needs to be a means of taking care of them. That's a humane way to do it. There are those in society that don't think so. Sage grouse, well, a monstrosity item, but you know, where's that going to land? I don't know. The states have submitted plans. As you know, comments are due by January 29th, and I expect to have my comments out of draft form into final form and submitted in behalf of WCA. We just hope that we can have enough influence to avoid that bird from being listed. I go to a lot of sage grouse meetings and ask questions to presenters, and the one question that I always ask is about predator control. And I says, how are you going to have a number of sage grouse if you don't have a predator control program? Because the eggs, the little ones, before they're mature enough to fly and protect themselves, they're just sitting there waiting to be destroyed by that predator situation. They don't want to talk about predator control. I understand that Nevada and NACO filed suit. Is that right?
That was in regards to the wild horse and bird.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, on sage grouse, that was the one.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. I should have asked that up. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. But moving back up to wild horse squirrel, but they did get that filed. So I'll look for a copy of that for Jeff. That's good news. Okay, but I'll get comments in for the sage grouse issue, and we just hope that we can have the influence necessary to avoid a listing. Secure rural schools. It appears, at least at the moment, that program will be reauthorized for 1 year. There has been no funding figure given other than guesses. But I've asked the lady that works for the National Education Association, which WC is a part of this coalition, to address that issue. I said to her, do you have any kind of a feeling of what the funding figure might be? And she said, if we can get it reauthorized, it'd be at least 10% less. So if we only get 10% less, well, that's the way the rec is. Why, that isn't too bad. Now, looking at the chart, White Pine County had a pretty good hit between 2011 and 2012, almost $132,000. So part of that was 5% less revenue. The other part, your per capita income must have gone up. Any source of revenue coming in with...
There, our finance director shaking her head right here, Mr. Brown. The lady right here is shaking her head that there was no... You want to explain it, Elizabeth?
No, I believe the change in the SRS funding for last year was due to the fact that we did not have timely notification for selection. We had an alternate selection than what we had in prior years, which altered the funding allocations. Right.
Answer. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. So much for secure rural schools. Congressman Hastings from the state of Washington, he's the chairman of the full committee on natural resource and public lands. He introduced a bill, H.R. 1526, which has SRS as an item in that bill, and that passed the House. There is no Senate companion bill, and that's part of the problem at the moment. They think Senator Wyden from Oregon is going to introduce a